Welcome back, Truth Seeker. It is Thursday, January 22nd, 2026. And down under in Australia, on their scheduled National Day of Mourning for the Bondi Beach victims, called the December 14th shooting during Hanukkah. Today was the scheduled day of mourning for that reported tragedy. And on this day of mourning, they have another mass shooting. Notice the attack was referred to as anti-Semitic. And any write-up you'll read about this will use the word anti-Semitic, mourning the anti-Semitic shooting. They scheduled the day of mourning for 39 days later, and also 39 days before the Prime Minister of Australia's birthday. And you might recall the attack was largely blamed on the Prime Minister. They said he didn't put out the fire on anti-Semitism growing within Australia. But isn't it interesting how anti-Semitic has a gematria value of 122, a lot like January 22nd, 122. And remember, they like to do these tributes to the synagogue of Satan. Satanic is 122 as well when you run the alphabetic order in reverse. And again, the Church of Satan was founded in San Francisco, which equals 122 on the 122nd meridian west. That was back on April 30th, 1966. If you're new here, there's 4 base ciphers of the English language: the alphabetic order, the reverse alphabetic order, and both orders with numerology applied. New South Wales, where this shooting happened, equates to 67 and 50, also like the word satanic. Remember, San Francisco, the small way, is also 50, again, where the Church of Satan was founded. Pretty soon where the Super Bowl will be. In the Bible, Satan is associated with the serpent. The first victim named in Australia was Rabbi Eli Schlonger. Schlonger means snake. It translates to snake like serpent. It also translates to penis. And, obviously there's the reference to male genitalia as snakes. Some people's snakes are bigger than others. But yeah, this 122 thing. Today is also a span of 122 days until the 4th anniversary of Anthony Albanese being installed as Prime Minister. 122. You might recall this number was big in the Charlie Kirk shooting as well. And he had lightning bolts on his tent that he was supposedly shot under. The lightning bolt related to how Satan comes to earth in the Bible in Luke 10:18. Keep in mind the Jesuit motto, Isus Hominum Salvator, equates to 122. Again, the Jesuits pretty much run the show and these rituals. Gave us the language of the calendar, synced up the system. They said they were supposed to mourn today in Australia at 7:01 p.m. local time. Now, that's a lot like 1901 military time, like 191. Society of Jesus equals 191, the big way. But 7:01 p.m. is also a lot like 71. Today is 71 days after the leader of the Jesuits' birthday, Arturo Sosa, the Venezuelan. Again, Isus Hominum Salvator, 122 is the Jesuit motto. 71 days after his birthday, the Society of Jesus 71. And again, here we are 39 days after the shooting, 39 days before the Prime Minister's birthday. Protestant Bibles, the Old Testament, the Jewish section has 39 books. Again, this is very Jewish related. But this is also through the Bibles that most Christians read as well. And again, Gematria, Masonry, Federal, Secrecy, 33 forwards, 39 in reverse. The shooting at Bondi Beach was on the 33rd parallel. Today's shooting is also on the 33rd parallel, and we'll see the greater Jesus connection with the 2 shootings as well. Of course, 33 is associated with Jesus because that's his common believed age of death. Remember, modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. We are reading from the 1858 Masonic periodical explaining just that the Masons serve the Jesuits and their superior general. But yeah, Bondi Beach, 33rd parallel, 151st meridian. For the record, today has 69 date numerology as well, like Australia's 69, like New World Order, like Illuminati. Again, that was founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt, like Catholic Church. The Jesuits served the Catholic Church, like Roman Catholic. FF's got that connection. They had to remind you in today's article that 15 people were shot at Bondi Beach. Today was a small rural town of 1,500 people. Reminds me how 13 years earlier it was that town in Connecticut with the mass shooting where they tried to undermine the Second Amendment in the U.S., Lenny Posner and such, and that was close to New Haven, where Skull and Bones is, also where the Knights of Columbus are headquartered of the Catholic Church. But at New Haven and Yale and Skull and Bones, they allow 15 members per year, which is because of the Illuminati, which they're modeled after, which was founded on the first day of the 5th month, May 1st. This year, Greenland's 47th birthday. But yeah, this town, you see how it's the town where the shooting happened today is also on the 33rd parallel, but the 146th meridian, whereas Bondi Beach was on the 33rd parallel, but the 151st meridian. Remember, Jesus Christ equals 151 and 146. And of course, the Bondi Beach shooting was 11 days before Christmas, or Sol Invictus, which also equals 71, when Jesus equals 11, the master number. Again, because the Catholic Church encoded the language in the calendar. But yeah, this is the work of the Society of Jesus, no doubt. This is how they operate. Notice the base ciphers of the town where the shooting happened. The town equals 118. Remember, death and homicide equal 118. Town also equals 64, like kill. Equals 80 as well, like Satan, like Baphomet. Remember, over here in the United States, Trump, who runs on the highest degree of the Church of Satan, Mega, who's Jesuit educated, he's going to turn 80 this year. The year began with Michael Reagan, the adopted son of Ronald Reagan, dying at 80. And again, back when he was adopted, Ronald Reagan lived at the address 666, the man with 6 letters in his first, middle, and last name, Ronald Wilson Reagan. And then to scare the people even more, they say today's killers are at large. I wouldn't be surprised if they're wearing police uniforms right now. And again, a lot of the stuff that they report, it's not even real half the time, but they do the damage psychologically to the public just by reporting it. And that's the point. The media is programming, it is mind control, it serves various agendas. A simple agenda that all these stories serve that a lot of people overlook is, again, it gives some kind of justification for government and policing and military and authorities that are here to keep you safe. What would you do about these 3 killers on the loose? Or I forget. I've seen multiple reports this morning. They say it's more than one shooter who killed the 3 people, but what would you do if the authorities weren't out there to track them down? Of course, in a lot of these nations, they already have gun control because of stories like this, and including Australia. And it also serves that purpose, to remind these people why they've been disarmed of their rights and liberties. We get this kind of news over here in the United States, a nation that still has the Second Amendment. We see our politicians will bring it up today, probably on the floor of the House, because there are certain people within our government working to undermine our rights and liberties every day. And it is a big new world order. I mean, everybody should know that now. I mean, the President of the United States gave a literal speech about it, September 11th, 1990. That was George Herbert Walker Bush. He talked about the new world order that will be realized. So, forget, did Australia participate in the coalition of the willing after September 11th? Remember, that was the biggest 33 ritual of all time. 1968, construction began on those towers. 911 made the national emergency dialing code in that same year. 2001, A Space Odyssey came out. Boeing debuted their jumbo jetliners. George W. Bush got out of Yale, Skull and Bones, all in 68, 33 years before 2001. But yeah, that's the quick and dirty here. And as I was talking about last night, they had to bring up the Uvalde shooting, and I said usually when they bring up an old shooting, next thing you know, there's a brand new shooting in the news, and I've seen it plenty of times where there's an international shooting, and the next thing you know, there's a shooting right here in the States. So we'll see if it's business as usual. Until next time, true.